All right, fantastic. So this is officially the second guest room for Clay Club Europe. And we're joined by Sabahattin, who's going to be helping us with vibe coding. So I'm going to leave it off to him and he's going to be handling from here. But basically, we're going to be building a simple tool
Mhm.
using all the tools we're already paying for, already using. And hopefully we can learn a few things from this that we can then implement across our own go-to-market workflows and whatever else to build dashboards, to build scrapers, whatever else we need, or to build an ROI calculator like Vincent. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, cool. I'll let you take it from here.
Right, thank you. So thanks for having me. Just want to say that we're gonna building something pretty straightforward. Go right ahead and share my screen with you guys. I wanted to keep it as simple as possible and make sure that the tools that we're using are widely available. Since I didn't know like who would turn up in the audience, we're going to build a mailbox setup checker, assuming that everyone is involved in some sort of GTM motion, outbound motion, so on and so forth. So we're going to build a mailbox setup checker. And before moving on to the build, I want to showcase a couple of things that I've built using Google Workspace only, and that will give you an idea of like what is possible, what can be built. Majority of the time, I start with some basic functionality in Google Sheets, and then move on to publishing whatever it is that I built as a web application, and then serve it serve it to our team so that they can start using it, whatever their workflows are, and so on and so forth. And then based on their feedback, we reiterate, rebuild, and push to production, and so on and so forth. I currently have I've been with Jim Bim for about 5 months now, and I've probably got eight web applications that are in production, saving literally hours and hours of time, like hundreds of hours of time every single week. We're seeing like over 500 executions for like a single application. Like when you think of the average amount of time being saved, like 20 minutes per execution, I think this gives you an idea of like what these applications, what sort of impact these applications have. So I'll go ahead and start with like one thing. We do not have a major outbound motion, but like we would still like to generate a database of leads and maybe do some basic outbound outreach to these companies. For that purpose, I've built a couple of GTM related tools as well. Majority of them are free of charge. Uh, I'd say if you look for a way or workaround like getting some free credits using these applications, you can even keep it completely free of charge as well. So the first thing, I'm assuming you see my screen right now. So the first thing that we're looking at is a Google Maps scraper. Google Maps scrapers are available in various forms. You can use Apify, you can use other platforms, you can use Serper directly. But what I'm doing right here is that I'm using the API connection from Serper to pretty much make API calls using Google Sheets only. And on the right-hand side, you'll see that I've actually added like a user interface to this one to make things as easy as possible. All I have to do is just decide on the business category that I'd like to scrape, and I just pick a few of them, and then afterwards I just pick the country and then hit run scraper. This is a production environment. I won't be running it right now. But like what this does is that it makes API calls to Serper. We get a response, and I have a lot of filtering going on in the background, to the extent that when the output comes in, I won't have to worry about it. And the key differentiator of this application compared to other Google Maps scrapers is that it also makes it, it also makes for every single business that we get, it also makes a call to an external Python scraper that I have running on my virtual private server, visits the URLs that we get from Google Maps, and then looks for an email address. And we can extract up to 3 email addresses on the given website that we're working on. So you know, this is the key differentiator, and we can use these like majority of the time, like unless it's a, you know, privacy request whatsoever, we can pretty much use them for some basic contact. We get in touch with like small businesses locally and you know, introduce ourselves and ask them if they'd like to work with us. And there's also a deduplication step involved in the entire script. So I will not have to go through, I don't know, like 5,000 businesses myself. So that is done all in the back end. It's a clear list majority of the time. It's a cleansed list majority of the time. So I won't have to worry about it myself, having to go through it manually. So this is one of them. The other one is a very basic email sequencer that is built on top of Gmail. Have you guys heard of something called mail merge?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, great. Like mail merge, we take mail merge as it is, and then we add certain functionality. You know, in GTM space, you don't use your main domain to do any sort of outbound. But again, like we've got a huge email traffic across all mailboxes that we have. So if we throw in another like 10, 15 emails a day of cold outbound, it won't hurt your domain whatsoever. And this is exactly what we're doing using this tool. You know, I've got like some filler data right here. Using this one, we can achieve certain basic levels of personalization. So I can just about start any email with the name of the person that we're looking at, or I can refer to their industry, you know, I can refer to their company name and so on and so forth. The rest of the body would remain the same in HTML format. There's also one more thing, is that why I call this like advanced mail merge. We also want to make sure that this looks a little bit natural, like human-like, in terms of how it fires out emails. And I can set like a limit of emails to be sent, and also I can set a window. And in the background, we can also add random time limits. So whenever I start sending these emails, we send one of them, and then the script waits for like three to 10 minutes. It's a random wait time, and then fires away another one after the wait is over. So this is like more human-like than, you know, firing away like hundreds of emails all at the same time, simultaneously. And then we get status, we get the timestamp, and so on and so forth. And on top of this, for example, using the very same infrastructure, you can build also a dashboard. You can connect it to your Gmail account, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of things you can build on top of this. Another thing that I've built using vibe coding, again, like GTM related, would be email finder. This revolves around the logic of connecting to an MX server and then looking for an SMTP handshake. I'm just going to showcase it this way, like my own email, pretty much. We've got a catch-all domain, by the way. So as soon as I, you know, fire this away, you can see that we get a parent. We also get a catch-all indicator there as well. Means that I'll have to further check this one. And I just found out that we've got I think David or Vincent in the group, and he's the founder of Find Email, and he's able to find catch-all domains. So you just verify it against another platform and then copy the email and make it a part of your outbound motion. So I can also expose this as an API and make this a part of my existing workflows. So it's very versatile in that regard. There is also a, hold on a sec. There is also a LinkedIn scraper. If I could just hide this, how do I hide this window? Hide floating meeting controls. Okay. I've also got a LinkedIn scraper built in the, you know, using the very same logic that we'll be using today. What I can do is that he's a colleague of mine, Jakub. I can just go ahead, and since I know the company domain, I can just say, let's say the email format. I select the email format right here, and then I add the company domain, and I can add him to my prospect list. Here you go. We've got his name, and I just X out of this. I've got all the data that I need already. It's cached into that scraper, and then I just pull it up here. I've got my colleague here, Adam. at the prospect list. So let's say we've got like a list of prospects, and then I click Save to Google Sheet. And as soon as I hit that, they are pushed to like a Google Sheet that I have in the background. And, we've got the first name, last name, the company name, we've got the email. It's formatted. I also, in between, I make sure that we normalize the characters to make sure that, we don't get any let's say, email related characters whatsoever. So yeah, these are just few of the things that you can build, using Google Workspace or using the methodology that we'll be using today. So just to give you an idea, if you've got any questions about these, maybe we can revisit these at the end of the call. And we'll be moving on to today's build. 1 second. Right. So I remember over the past year, what happened was deliverability rates took a hit, and there was a lot of emphasis on ESP matching. And whatever GTM tool you use, they started serving this data free of charge. They appeared like ESP data started appearing just about everywhere. You have Clay giving you that data free of charge if you're using, I don't know, Smart Lead instantly, whatever enrichment tool that you're using related to emails and so on and so forth. You can pretty much get this data free of charge. And when this data started appearing everywhere, I was just thinking, what if I wanted to make this a part of our internal tools, like internal tools that we're building? How could we possibly get that? I mean, if they're giving this data away for free, they must be getting it for free somewhere. So I must be able to get my hands on them in a way or so. So I started doing research, and I found out that there's something called Google DNS API. So what we'll be using today is that we'll be using that Google DNS API to identify the email service providers of like whatever email addresses you have. I've got a couple of examples right here, and we'll be doing a bit of a crawl, walk, and run. So we will start in Google Sheets, and then we will eventually convert like whatever we build into a web application. Okay. So if you want to follow along, maybe just go ahead and share it in the chat, share the prompts then in the chat so that you can also copy paste. We'll be using Google Sheets. If you can just start a new spreadsheet if you want to follow along. Alongside that, I'll be using Gemini. I mean, you can use whatever AI model that you like. I think we're gonna pretty much end up in the same place. I tried to keep it foolproof so that everybody could follow along. So we've got this first prompt, like let's say Dog has a question. He's asking any free ways to find company domain based on company name, contact LinkedIn URL. We can revisit this question towards the end. Let us go through the build. Let's see what we build, and then afterwards we'll get back to it. Okay. So, when it comes to vibe coding, there are a lot of fancy tools. Okay, there is Lovable, Bolt, Replit. They help you build tremendous stuff literally with little effort. You can even one-shot certain applications without even having to try hard, right? That's totally fine. And the reason we're going today is that we don't want to give everything to AI, but like we will take it one step at a time and see the process of building something. So I'll just copy and paste this one. You will see that I've got like a clean chat right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste my prompt right here. And what we're going to ask is that, there's a lot of emphasis on, prompt engineering, context engineering, and so on and so forth. What we're going to do is that we're going to keep things basic. Even the fact that I'm stating that we're on Google Sheets, we're using AppScript, and that we have a bunch of email addresses and what we'd like to do with them. This is context. This is context good enough so that you can actually use it in a meaningful way. So I'm just going to copy and paste this to Gemini. you see we've got, like I mentioned, the Google DNS API, and we just wanna categorize our ESPs as either Gmail, Microsoft, or SMTP. And then we also provide a little more context on the spreadsheet that we have, the email column, ESP column. So in the first step, I'm just trying to figure out, like, majority of the time, I'll probably get some sort of a code anyway, like an apps script code anyway, but like sometimes it just gives me a response like, okay, so here's how you can achieve this. And then based on that prompt, it will turn into like a more of a meaningful conversation, maybe a bit of a back and forth, but again, we will eventually get what we need. While that is generating, I also wanted to ask you if you guys have got any experience with AppScript in particular.
I used to do a
No.
little bit back in the day.
Okay,
Not much
right.
though.
This is good because like you will get to see like how it can turn into something like fancy, something useful. Okay, well, here we go. I mean, majority of the time, I read the response and I do my own research and verify the information. You'll be surprised. Like, so I'm pretty much assuming that we've got a code that is already functional. I'm hoping that you've got something similar as well, right? If you're following along. So I'm just gonna go to the spreadsheet that we have, move on to AppScript. You will see there is like a code.js file, a blank code.js file, and I'm going to replace the code right here, copy and paste whatever Gemini provided. I'm gonna save. Let me see if there are any instructions on adding like any services. Okay, no instructions on adding any services whatsoever, because like there are times when you can add like Gmail API to connect your application to Gmail. There are various things you can do here. So we're not using this today. Okay. No worries, Vincent. Pleasure meeting you. Hope to stay in touch. Take care. Right. So once we copy paste the code, we're just gonna have to run it in AppScript to grant permissions. This is crucial, and otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, select all, continue. Okay, let me just name this so that I don't mix it up later. Okay. Okay, just rename. Okay, once that's ready, just gonna get back to the spreadsheet itself. And we've got ESP tools, and new extension appeared after implementing that code onto AppScript. And I'm just gonna hit verify ESPs. What this is gonna do, this is going to trigger the API calls in the background, ESP verification complete. So we've got Microsoft, Gmail, Microsoft, Gmail. We don't have any SMTPs. That's a surprise.
Oh, God.
Right. So this is the first part of it. Go ahead.
Who's gonna be?
Dog, did you ask a question?
I think that might just be some background noise.
Possibly. Right. Okay. So moving on. So this is no problem. So this is pretty much the first step that we took, and this is in building an application. I think this is the most important step, because you need to see the results from the very beginning to be able to complete building something, rather than building something very complex and that you're unable to tell what is what. I see this as a crucial step. So we've got our 0 to 1. And we will just go ahead and add a little more functionality to this one within this spreadsheet space. And that is, let's say you are working with email providers, you're working with like vendors, resellers, and so on and so forth. You've got maybe hundreds and hundreds of mailboxes that are available to you, okay? And these mailboxes always require some sort of setup, and you want to make sure that, say, you're building an internal application, and you want to make sure that whenever you purchase new domains, that SPF, and DMARC records are set up correctly, okay? And what we're going to do is that we're going to keep this as is, and then afterwards, we're going to copy and paste this prompt. Just going to share this with you as well, guys. So what we're asking Gemini is like, hey, okay, this works great as intended. We just want to add like SPF and DMARC checks. These are like different API calls, but I'd say majority of the time, Gemini knows, or let's say whatever AI you're using, they know what to do. You won't even have to explicitly state what API points to use, what documentation to refer to, and so on and so forth. They'll just give you what they need. It's such like common knowledge that they'll just give you what you need. So we'll just go ahead and say this one. Okay, so it worked. In addition to the email provider in column B, I also want to check the domain's email security setup. We want to check if SPF record is published, DMARC record is published. Okay, in the meantime, I'm just gonna update my spreadsheet. What's gonna happen here is like majority of the time, they'll just provide you with a drop-in code. You're just gonna copy and paste, drop it into app script. Here's the modified script. Okay, go back. TXT. Okay. Delete the entire old script and paste this new script in its place. Okay. This is all we need to do. Let me make sure that it is complete. Right, we get back to app script. Just copy and paste the new one, drop it in. You won't have to run it again because this application has already been granted the permissions necessary. So we're just gonna go back and remove the data from here and use the very same extension. Verify ESBs. Right. Here we go. It just initiated all those API calls. We've got the ESB data, SPF data, DMARC data, all in one place. And you can pretty much, you know, I'm only using like, I don't know, maybe a dozen email addresses right here, but you can literally build a system that caches certain data. Let's say if you're sending a ping to Gmail domain, it would only be once, and then so that you wouldn't be blacklisted and so on and so forth. And then you can literally run it for like possibly thousands and thousands of rows without a problem whatsoever. So now that we have this one, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna convert it to a web application. So we just verified by using it within Sheets, we just verified that it is functional, okay? And now we're just gonna turn it into a web application so that maybe other people can interact with it without accessing our spreadsheet whatsoever. And so just gonna provide this prompt as well. It's right here. Just gonna copy and paste it, and while it's generating, I'm gonna walk you through it. Okay, so we want to share this project as a web application, just like I said, and it's going to run on AppScript. And this is all the context they need because we're already building the context from the very beginning. There's no way we're going to stray away from the main topic at this stage. And we're just going to ask for a code. It will have a text area. It will have a, let's say, go or start button whatsoever. And it will also show us the progress bar while it works, and it also calls the backend function that we just used in spreadsheet. And when it's finished, we're also going to get like a detailed table, and we're also asking for a pie chart summarizing the email providers. Okay, so I mean the possibilities are endless here. The prompt could possibly go on, but yeah. So you see, it's a fantastic idea, like always. Moving forward, what does it say? Okay, so Code.js delete everything, and then we're gonna have to add a front end to our application. So we've already built, let's say, the back end of it, and now we're going to add a front end to it. First things first, I'm just going to replace the Code.js file, which is our backend. Right. And then top left-hand side, add a file option, HTML, and I'm just going to name it index, hit enter. Then I'm just going to go back to Gemini and copy whatever it is I have here. I don't even need to review it. I'm pretty sure that it is going to function without a problem whatsoever. Okay, so just drop it in here. I'm seeing 321 lines of code. So yeah, it's giving us probably a fancy front end. It's not going to look very basic here. So let's see how this turns out. Okay, so once I drop the code into both files, I'm just going to go ahead and deploy it on the top right hand side. You'll see new deployment. Hey Anna, thanks for joining. So on the top right hand side, we've got new deployment. Just going to hit new deployment, and I'm going to click the cogwheel right here. And this is exactly what decides what's our application going to be. And we're going to publish it as a web application. Okay, just add a description. ESP, SPF. Okay, and at this stage, I can also decide on the levels of access to grant. Let's say I can keep it within my organization. I can keep it within Google Workspace, like whoever has Google account, or I can just, share it with just about anyone. I'll keep it only for myself at the stage and click deploy. This is pretty much the fastest way to build a functional web application. I think there is no faster way, even like by using those like tools like Lovable and so on and so forth. It will take you quite a bit to get something functional and then publish it to the greater public. So we've got the link to our web app. Everything runs on Google Workspace or Google Enterprise Infrastructure. Just gonna pull it up here. Okay, might not be available due to heavy traffic. Interesting.
So just Sabahattin, when we're
Good.
done with this, would you mind just doing a quick recap of what we've done up until now for Anna and Max? And then Anna and Max, there's going to be a full recording anyway, so even if you're a little bit lost, you can still do it in your own time.
Right.
But basically what we've done is Sabahattin has put together a bunch of prompts, and you can just go to ChatGPT or Gemini, open a Google Sheet, prompt Gemini, and it'll give you all the code you need to create the app script in Google Sheets. If you're not familiar with what app script is, it's just an extension. It's actually quite easy to use. And then once we have a working kind of an automation within Google Sheets, you're just turning that into a web app. So it might look a little bit complicated now, but it really isn't that complex.
Try to keep it as simple as possible. If you watch the recording later on, you won't have any troubles following along, okay? So moving forward. Okay, so you see, we've got the interface, and Gemini didn't do a bad job putting this together. So I'm just going to copy and paste the very same, example email addresses that I had from the previous spreadsheet, and I'm just going to drop them in here and see if the web application is at all functional. You see, we've got pretty much everything we asked for. We've got a go button, we've got a progress bar. Now the backend function is being called, and then it should display results in a detail table along with a pie chart. So you see right here, we've got our pie chart. Gmail, Microsoft, and right down here, you've got
How cool
our
is that?
table. How cool is that, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, this is the fastest way to build a web application. again, like it's reliable. It runs on Google Enterprise infrastructure, so you won't have any troubles like serving it to other users as well whatsoever. Okay, so if I were to use this one, I'd say, okay, nice, but I don't have access to your spreadsheet. So do I need to copy and paste data? Right at this stage, I have to think about user experience, how they interact with my application. So what I'm gonna do is that if I were to use such a service, I think I would ask for download functionality, which is download as CSV. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this prompt, okay? And I'm gonna go back to Gemini and say, hey, okay, it's working. Now add a download CSV button. I'm not going to do anything. It's as simple as this. I know, like David is just saying, hey, it can't be this simple. I'm sorry, it can't. but it is. It really is.
Yeah, it's like you hear the stories about how simple it is, and I've never delved into the world of vibe coding, but you look at something like this and it's amazing to see.
It really is that simple. This is exactly what I wanted to showcase here today. And I can assure you that the apps that we're building, we stopped going to our IT teams at this stage. That we resolve our problems ourselves. Like within the team, we know how to go about dealing with these problems. If anyone has a bottleneck and anything that bothers them, anything that needs to be automated, we just build it ourselves. So this is where we are. Okay, so you got it. The backend logic in Code.js is already perfect, so we're not going to make any changes to the backend, and the rest is just about a front end tweak that we will change an index file, replace the entire content. So this is what it says. So I'm just going to copy and paste everything. I'm going back to app script, just going to copy and paste 307 lines of code. Gemini is on fire today. It's usually like keeping the front end very simple in busy hours when they have a lot of computing going on, probably. But yeah, feeling generous today, obviously. Okay, after dropping the code in, we're just gonna deploy this. Okay, new deployment. Okay, CSV button. This version is called CSV button. Just gonna deploy it again. And we've got the URL. I'm just going to get rid of the old one. Right. Let's see. It's taking a little while. It shouldn't. Maybe my internet connection. Okay. It's working. Everything seems to be intact so far. Let me just drop it again. Drop the email addresses in. Right. Go. And this time.
So what does it do, just to understand correctly, is this one analyzes whether the emails are valid or not. Is that correct?
Yes and no.
More complicated than that.
Not
Okay.
necessarily. I mean, the email addresses are probably from a database that we've collected. Majority of the time when I have email addresses, it's something that I've scraped from a publicly available data.
Yeah.
So what this does is it gives us the email service provider. I don't know if you're familiar with the ESP matching in email outbound, because to increase your not a problem to increase, like if you're sending a lot of emails, to increase your deliverability, there are playbooks around matching the ESP. Let's say if you have Gmail mailboxes, you want to
Yes.
send to Gmail mailboxes to increase.
Yes.
Exactly. So the column B is checking ESP, the internet service provider, whether it is Gmail, Microsoft, or anything else.
Gotcha. Okay, I think I finally putting it together. So you basically have a list of emails that you want to be sending to, and now you have to determine which ones they are, so that you know which kind of domains you have to buy, whether Gmail or Outlook. Got it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That is correct.
All right.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's one way to go about using this information. Or alternatively, if we've got a lot of people with like hundreds, maybe thousands of mailboxes, and they purchase them through various resellers and various vendors and so on and so forth. And every time they make a purchase, they also need to make sure that their mailboxes are set up correctly. And this is like maybe one way to make sure that they can check the ESP that they're using with that vendor or reseller, or alternatively, they can check whether the SPF or DMARC settings are set up correctly using this sort of a web application. So
okay. So it's both for internal and external use, basically.
that is correct. You can make it both for internal, external use cases. That is correct.
That's cool. Okay, I didn't know this one, but
right.
I haven't started sending yet, so it makes sense.
Not a problem. We all have to start somewhere. Okay, so you'll see there's our pie chart, just like we wanted, and all the other data that we needed. And here you got download CSV. Just click, and you've got your CSV file.
And just 1 second, Sabahattin.
Go ahead.
Max, do you have a question?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how it works a little bit better. Does it use some API inside it, or
it does?
What is the process?
It does. We're making API calls. The first one is.
That was my first. That was my next question. Great, Max.
Sure. Yes. We're using API calls. We're making API calls. The first one is Google DNS API. So we are actually sending requests to a publicly available API, and we're using the response of that. The second ones are we're checking. We're connecting to the MX, which is the mail exchange server, and then we're looking for the setup. Let's say if SPF or DMARC are set up correctly. So 2 different calls.
Yeah.
I think it might be valuable at this stage to just do a quick recap of what we've done up until now, and just for so you have a better understanding of what we're actually using here. The way I like to think of AppScript is it's basically like a more complicated version of Make.com or any of those automation platforms. It's what Make.com and those platforms are kind of based off of, in a way. It's a terrible way of describing them, but just for our use case. You can go to AppScript and you can essentially lay out whatever task it is you want to do, be it calling an API or whatever else. And using Google Sheets, you can actually perform those tasks. Now, because we don't know how to code, we can get Gemini to turn our normal text input into the code that we need to perform those tasks. And that's basically all we're doing here.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. I couldn't have put it better myself. Like personally, I've used all the platforms that you mentioned, Make.com, N8N, Zapier, and so on and so forth. There are even some others that I don't even remember. But at the end of the day, I always come back to AppScript. When it's a data problem, I always come back to AppScript, and Gemini is a very powerful tool to generate the code that you need. If you can provide a little bit of context, a tiny bit of prompting, tell them how your data looks, what the input is, what do you want the output to be, it's going to give you, like, even in a single shot, in a single attempt, it's going to pretty much give you whatever it is that you need. It's copy paste, drop in, and the rest is just, if you face problems, just a bit troubleshooting using natural language, bit of back and forth with Gemini. This is how it is.
I can ask you, so at this
Go
point,
ahead.
it's like, in order to, let's suppose you have a play workflow. So you want to be taking this one afterwards in order to figure out whether they are ESP or anything else. So you will just integrate with go look up for that row in that table, and then you can get it that way. I'm already thinking. Originally, I was thinking of an API, but it actually makes more sense to just go look it up within connected and then go look it up. Is that how you will do it? Or is there a way on how you could transfer from this directly into Play?
I want to say, listen, Clay is a great tool. Whenever I need to whip up a campaign real fast for a project with a deadline, I would go right into Clay and do everything natively there without even having to rely on any sort of external subscriptions whatsoever. But if I have enough time in my hands, I can actually replicate the way Clay works using Google Sheets and AppScript. So when you think of Clay is a platform that allows you to use around 150, maybe even 200 now APIs, GTM services natively, along with some native functionality. But as you develop more experience, you know, as you get more experience in this space and you know exactly what you're looking for, you don't need Clay as an infrastructure. You can just about use those APIs. It will come cheaper, you know, if you have your own subscription, and make that integration within Google Sheets or AppScript, and then run your entire workflow using Google Sheets and AppScript.
Right. I do think
that is possible.
you're 100% right. I do think there is still something to be said about the main reason that Clay is still used by most teams, as opposed to building their own automations or scripts all the time. The main three reasons are: number one of Clay's main selling points is that the two of their main selling points are all of the data that you scrape and use. Now, when you're running really big campaigns, this isn't the same. All of the data you're using is in one central location. So it's a little bit more organized and easier to handle. Another thing is if you're scraping certain data, I know everyone uses their own APIs, but with certain data, it actually is cheaper to use Clay's credits. Not many of them, but sometimes, because they have big data deals with a lot of these providers, and it can actually make more sense. And then finally, just the dynamic aspect of it can help an awful lot. So the same reason people often use make.com as opposed to writing their own code is because you can set up an automation significantly faster. And if you're building like 20 different ones every week or whatever the cadence is, you can adjust them and tweak them much, much faster. But I completely agree, for certain use cases, if you only need one, it can make more sense to build it yourself with something like AppScript.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Max,
I'll stop interrupting.
Yeah, I'm also thinking, because like before I used like VS Code, for example, with like Claude. You can use Claude to generate code, or you can bake codecs inside. What is the advantage of AppScript? Which, well, I also tried using AppScript before, but it's not like that intuitive for me. Or maybe like just because I wasn't using Gemini for that. But what are the like some advantages for you?
I want to say the reason why I went with like only pretty much 3 tools today, which is Google Sheets, Gemini, and AppScript, is to simplify the process for everyone, because I didn't know how proficient the audience was going to be. And if I were to build like a new workflow for myself from scratch, I would start with Visual Studio Code, just like you said.
Yeah.
And I would probably use either Claude Code or Gemini in the terminal as a CLI platform. Yes, as a CLI
I got
platform.
lost you already.
So that's exactly why, you know, I wanted to keep it very simple. I'd say foolproof, so that, you know, you wouldn't have to look for things or get lost in the meantime. So that's why. But like when it comes to what you said, I've seen a great deal of accuracy when it comes to AppScript from Gemini's end, because I was also using various other models for this one. But I think it's only natural that they are both by Google, so it has this competitive advantage edge, obviously, over other AI models. They have probably more training data on this one. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I went for this one. But again, like if I were to build something from scratch today, I would probably go with like Visual Studio Code, Cloud Code embedded into it, or alternatively Cursor, whatever IDE you're using, and build using that one. I'll be also defining the project goals using markdown files as reference, feeding a lot of context to it, and so on and so forth. But yeah, again, we just wanted to keep it very simple and straightforward in this call.
But can you build something actually like complex, which will involve a lot of steps with AppScript?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I think you may have missed the very first part. Let me just pull it up again. I think like this is a project that is complex enough. I've got like a scraper, a Google Maps scraper within Google Sheets. And what this does is that I've added like an interface to it. And what this exactly what this does is that it uses like an external API called serper.dev. And you can select just about any category you want from here, and you can select the country. So if I were to, let's say, scrape gyms and fitness centers in Austria right now, within a single click, I could scrape the entire country I could filter their data in the backend. I could duplicate the data that I'm getting, and I can also make further external script calls to get even more data. For example, what mine does is whenever we have a web URL from the Serper dev, we can also connect to a scraper that runs on my virtual private server to visit that website and extract up to 3 email addresses for me. So you can just put so much on top of this that, you know, like the possibilities are endless, you know, like yes, it may take a little longer for the script to complete the job whatsoever, but then again, ultimately you will definitely get what you're looking for.
I didn't know you could connect Serper Dev over to the Google Sheets, to be honest with you, or do anything like that. It's like, I don't know. I think right now I just discovered it, and I discovered it within Play. So for me, it was like my go-to. But I think there is like another world out there when it comes to what is possible. So within Google Sheets and JavaScript, I actually put together JavaScript in order to put together all the files that I had within my computer, like for my drive and my shared drive, because I had so many and I kept on getting the file lost, and I didn't know where everything was. So in the end, I kind of know what you mean when you talk about JavaScript, because it's like I managed to actually put all that together with the help of one kind of an LLM or another, and it was pretty cool in order to see it back here again. But I had no idea that you could actually put server dev within this and then being able to build it. How long will it take you to actually scrape down the things? It depends obviously on how much data you're bringing down, but still on average.
Difficult
for like
to say.
100, let's say 100 contacts to kind of give you an idea. No, nothing crazy, nothing.
I'd say it's fairly fast. The thing that slows it down is the email extractor, because like it literally queues up like hundreds of queries and then visits websites individually, and there's also a fallback logic within that scraper as well to increase the accuracy as well. There's just a lot going on, and this is the only thing that slows it down. But let's say if I were to scrape, let's say all the gyms that are based in Austria right now, it would probably take half a day for the script to complete. Just about half a day for the script to complete. Without,
so you basically leave a computer open and then it just goes on, and then whenever you use it, you go back to it, you'll get back to it the next day. Okay. Gotcha.
Exactly. If you have, like for me, in my case, like I have a virtual private server that runs 24/7, and I also happen to have a spare MacBook that is on my work desk, so I can pretty much assign any job to those 2 computers that I have at any given time.
And then go into, okay. Will we be able to have another session where you actually show us how to do this? At least I will definitely be interested in. I don't know if the other ones will be.
Listen, I'd be more than happy to do this. Yeah, but this definitely will not be an hour call. Like it would be a much more complex build than this one, because again, it doesn't end. If it was just the Serper API connection, we could put it together in 15 minutes. That is not a problem. But like when it comes to building that external scraper with the fallback logic and so on and so forth, it does plenty of time. So it does take plenty of time. So it wouldn't be an hour call, but maybe in the future we may have like we may agree on something with Ruhan to put this
at some stage
together.
down the line we'll definitely have you on board again.
Right.
Definitely. With the amount of work you put into this call, it has to happen again.
Like I don't know, like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there over the course of a week, 2 weeks.
I mean,
I'll take it.
If you record a Loom about it and you're willing to share for free, feel free to share it in the community. I'm sure people will find it valuable. But that's your own. That's your own provocative.
The thing
another
is,
thing that I was exploring.
Go ahead.
But all I was going to say is I've recently been struggling with scraping local business data. Now when I say struggling, I've got a few different workflows that I generally use, but it's a bit clunky. I have to kind of rebuild it for every client. What I've been working with recently is I'm sure you guys have all heard of cursor.dev or cursor, I should say. It's actually very, very cool what you can do with cursor and then with a few APIs. You can actually just get a rapid API, or you can get serper.dev and you can get cursor to handle all of the scraping of the Google Maps just using that data. And it's like this, except there's no front end. it just writes you the code, and you can run that code in what's called a terminal on your computer. And then you can actually scrape all this data, download the CSV, and it's really phenomenal. I think it's what I'm going to do from now on when I'm scraping local business data, and then move it all into Clay.
Will you be able to make a video or something to show me how
Yeah.
you do it? No,
Yeah,
I'm asking.
So yeah, once it's working well, and I'm confident that it's repeatable across different
Okay.
industries, of course I'll record a video.
Yeah, we'll love to check it
Yeah,
out.
and to be honest, Eric Nowoslavsky recently uploaded some videos on his YouTube about how GTM engineers use Cursor and like some general use cases. And also he mentioned he will upload another one how to like start with it. So probably
Yeah.
you should check it out.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I will. It's like I haven't checked out his videos for a while now, so it makes sense that I go back into it.
And even
Yeah.
aside from all of this vibe coding, once you kind of understand APIs and how to use them effectively, it changes the game completely. It makes
Yeah.
everything significantly easier. So I definitely recommend figuring out how to use APIs correctly and kind of what the options you
it's like
have with regards to that. And then once you can start using this stuff, it's even better.
exactly. Well, like right now I've been using them obviously within Clay, because there's just no other freaking way on how to do it. You know, you'll be running out of credits within like 5 minutes. But yes, so I've been doing it over there, but this is like another step altogether. So that's why I was wondering.
Now, so tell us what you're doing now, Sabahattin.
This is
What?
just the bonus step. This is my biggest time sink because I like to make things look fancy. This is the last one, the Polish UI. I play around with this all the time. I mean, it doesn't have a functionality, real functionality. It doesn't get things done, but I just wanted to leave this as a bit of a, a bonus step in the end. So
This is
I
the
also
best
asked,
step.
I
I
also
love
asked,
making things look nice.
I just
nice.
asked, exactly. I just asked Gemini to restyle the entire HTML file with neo brutalism, and yeah, this is what you get in return. Let me just like throw in some email addresses here and see what's gonna happen. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this pretty much marks the end of my presentation, guys. Fancy colors. Look at that. This is beautiful.
Yeah, looks cool, really.
Big clap for Sabahattin.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. So this pretty much marks the end of my presentation. I mean, again, just using this simple workflow, you can really achieve a lot, and this gives you a very solid ground on building even more complex workflows, because as you develop, you will also get more familiar with like the tools, connections, webhooks, triggers, and so on and so forth. And then even the way you approach certain problems will change. This will also instill some systems thinking in how you build, in how you communicate, and so on and so forth. So I would definitely recommend this to everyone to get their hands on as often as they can. Yeah, I believe it'll be beneficial for every one of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it does. It's like I didn't even know that this existed. So definitely thank you.
Right, you're
Really
most
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Most welcome. If you got any other questions, you can always reach out to me via LinkedIn, or alternatively on WhatsApp, the group that we're in. I mean, whenever I have time, I try to get back to everyone. I'll try my best for you as well, guys.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
All right.
If nobody has any questions, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks so much. Really interesting.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you.
much so. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank
Take
you.
care, you
Have a
guys.
great
Bye.
day.
Have a good night.
See you.
Bye.